guys, the Benidorm Enthusiast here with Benidorm Stuff YouTube channel. It's been a busy couple of days in the world of travel news. A few big headlines and announcements which affect travel to Spain. So for today's video, I'm going to be going through them with you, try my best to clarify and simplify what's been going on. Before I get into that, a quick update on the weather. It is amazing right now. The last couple of days we've had loads of sunshine and temperatures have finally reached what they should be for this time of year. It's 22 degrees today and barely a cloud in the sky. The night temperatures have increased massively as well. It's been around 15 degrees overnight. Much more comfortable for you guys in your holiday clothes. There are still a few dodgy days forecast for next week, but we are in for a gorgeous weekend ahead. Okay, so first thing I want to discuss is the passenger locator form for Spain. For most of you travelling here now, you no longer have to complete the lengthy health form, which has been causing a load of hassle for many travellers. This is big news. I know many of you were waiting for it to go before you booked. It's not completely gone yet, but most of you won't have to do it, and the preparation process for travel to Spain should now be much easier from here on. Have to admit, it's been an absolute nightmare trying to figure out the ins and outs of this, and I'm still not 100% sure on everything. They don't like to give us any warning when they make changes like this. The announcement came out of the blue. Basically, it changed overnight on the government and tourism websites, allowing no time for travel companies, airlines, airport staff or travellers to prepare, and it caused complete chaos. So here's how it is now, as per the Spanish government guidelines. For everybody 12 and over, if you have the EU digital COVID certificate or an EU equivalent, you no longer have to complete the passenger locator form to enter Spain. The UK's version, the COVID travel pass, is accepted as an EU equivalent. So if you have this, you don't need to do the locator form. Now, I'm aware there are lots of different versions within the UK depending on which part you're from. Also, some are on the app, some are downloaded from the website, some need renewing, some don't. So the best thing to do, and I would recommend everybody does this, is to check the validity of your COVID pass online. You can do this on the Spain Travel Health website. This is the website you would have gone on to complete the locator form. Click on the yellow button where it says if you have an EU COVID digital certificate or equivalent. Click here to access. Then you'll enter a couple of details and upload your COVID pass, and it will confirm whether it's valid or not. If it comes up as valid, then you're set to go. This is applicable for everyone aged 12 and above. Under 12s do not need to provide any COVID documentation or passenger locator forms. Now, there are a couple of discrepancies with the advice from travel companies. Some of the major airlines which fly to Spain have updated their websites to say that it's only fully vaccinated that don't need to do the forms. So if you're flying with a recovery certificate or with a negative test, which only applies to teenagers for tourism, but I'll get into that shortly, then you still need to do the form. I'm not sure for the reasoning behind this. Maybe it's because there are some private companies offering the other types of certificate and they won't be validated as an EU equivalent. And maybe they want to avoid any disappointment or entry refusal. So do check with your airline or tour operator before you travel exactly what documents they ask for. Nothing's ever simple, is it? As I just said, this change did come out of the blue, which has been a nightmare for the whole travel industry. It takes time for the information to filter down through the ranks, and time is needed for airport and airlines to update their procedures and inform their staff of the new protocols. Why didn't the government give a date a week before and give people time to prepare is beyond me. Not to mention the unnecessary stress it's caused to anyone travelling at the time of the changes. Still, I'm sure it will smooth out over the next couple of days and everything will become clearer and easier. Fingers crossed, and we'll keep you updated on our social media platforms. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I may not have all the answers for you. I don't work for the government or the tourism board. I only have access to the same information you guys do. But I will try my best to get you the answers that you need. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the entry requirements for unvaccinated adult tourists coming into Spain. Massive headlines all over the UK press on Wednesday that Spain was finally opening up to unvaccinated adults with a negative test result. This is not the case. There have been no changes at all this week relating to this. It was a massive mix-up, misinterpretation, mistranslation, whatever you want to call it. It is an absolute minefield trying to decipher through government guidelines, so I get it. I don't think anybody, myself included, has got everything right throughout the whole pandemic when it comes to figuring out the rules and regulations. And it terrifies me every time I have to do one of these videos in case I get something wrong. But it has to be said, that was a giant cock-up. There is still no option for unvaccinated adults to enter Spain for tourism reasons with a negative test. There are certain circumstances where adults can enter with a negative test, essential travel reasons if you like, and this may be where the mix-up stemmed from. These are all listed on the government website. But if you're not covered by one of these reasons, which most of you guys coming over for holidays won't be, then ages 18 and over can only enter Spain if fully vaccinated or with a recovery certificate. To be considered fully vaccinated with the 2-dose vaccine, you must have had both doses. The second dose must have been administered at least 14 days before travel. And if the second dose was more than 270 days ago, you also need to have had the booster to be considered fully vaccinated. The booster dose can be administered any time before travel. There's no 14-day wait, and it does not expire after 270 days. The only option for unvaccinated adults to enter, unless covered by one of the exceptional circumstances, is with a recovery certificate issued by the relevant authorities. Teenagers aged 12 to 17 can enter with a negative test if not fully vaccinated. A PCR or a similar type test performed within 72 hours of arrival in Spain. The recovery certificate is also accepted for this age group, and another important thing to note is that the 270-day vaccination expiry does not apply for this age group. Under 12s do not need to provide any type of COVID documentation to enter Spain. There's no date set for changing this as it stands. I'm sure it will happen at some point, it's just a case of when, and the government is not really giving us any clue when it comes to a timeline or a date to aim for. The last big news I want to go over today is the use of the mask indoors here in Spain. All being well, it's on its way out. The Spanish government have finally given a date that they are aiming for to remove the obligation to wear a mask inside public places. The date is the 20th of April. At the moment, it's still required to wear a mask inside public spaces and places intended for public use. This includes public transport, offices, shops, supermarkets, bars and restaurants, cinemas, libraries, museums, hospitals, all those kinds of places. But the Council of Ministers will be meeting on the 19th of April with the intention of removing the measure from the following day for most places. It's still expected to be necessary on public transport, in health centres, hospitals and in care homes. But everywhere else it should be gone. This isn't set in stone yet, and it won't be until the meeting happens and all the details have been confirmed. We'll do an update for you, of course, when that day arrives. Wow, my head hurts after all that. I hope it's helped answer most of the questions you guys have. I've spent hours going through government pages to try and decipher all the important stuff and extract it for you. I know there are still some grey areas. We'll try our best to cover those things as they come clear. and on our other social media platforms. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at the Benidorm Enthusiast. Thanks for watching. Get subscribed to the channel and click on the bell so you're notified when we release a new video. I'm off to soothe my head now with some of this glorious sunshine and a nice cold one. Have a great weekend, stay positive and stay safe.